Hello everybody and welcome to the ThePackHub's Pharmaceutical Packaging Trends webinar. My name is Paul Jenkins, Managing Director of UK Packaging Innovation Consultancy, ThePackHub. Joined today as always by our Technical Director, Barrington, Pamplin, who will be fielding questions towards the end of the session, and also delighted to be joined by Neil Cashman, CEO of Snapsil. Snapsil is a leader in innovative, user-friendly medical packaging, and Neil will be showing us some of his easy-to-use applications, as well as fielding some questions at the end. Neil is presenting from Australia, so I think it's just gone 1 o'clock in the morning there, so fair play to Neil for staying up very late for what is actually Friday for him. So what we're going to cover in the next 50 minutes or so, 60 seconds on the ThePackHub and Innovation Zone, then overview of what the pharma packaging trends are as a point of view from the ThePackHub, and then we're going to split looking at some new packaging innovations from the pharma perspective into 2 sections, which be in the middle of that will be Neil's presentation on patient-friendly packaging solutions. We'll have a summary and Q&A, and then details of our next event. So please make sure you get your questions in. There's a panel at the bottom where you can type away any questions that we'll be looking forward to fielding towards the end. And you will get a link to the recording of this webinar early next week. So in terms of the ThePackHub, we're a leading packaging innovation consultancy for those that don't know us yet. So 4 areas of support and services, so technical support and project management, events where permitted. Obviously, we've been restricted of late, but we're hoping to be back in March next year. Reports, so we're just about to launch a refillable and reusable packaging compendium next week, and our Innovation Zone packaging database. So this is a database with over 4,200 innovations now, uploaded about 20 a week from concept to market, in-market launches. Very much a global view, so we track packaging in about 15 different languages, so we're getting a representation from right around the world. So a great way for keeping teams up to speed and inspire and create those great ideas. So in terms of pharmaceutical packaging innovations, the way to look at this is to consider what the overall overall packaging innovations are, generally speaking, of which we've clustered 10. So things like compostable and biodegradable, biomaterials, reusable packaging, recycling. And of those, really only recycling is of major interest to the sort of pharmaceutical world. But also you've got carbon footprint reduction initiatives, waste reduction initiatives, and of course plastic elimination, which has been a huge area of activity over the last 2 or 3 years. 3 other areas which are really where pharmaceutical packaging come into their own. So functional enrichment, so that's about making added functionality for packaging. So this is really, you think about the type of usage occasions for pharmaceutical packaging. It's all about either child resistance or easy open or easy dispense. So it's sort of functional enrichment and added functionality is a key packaging innovation growth area. Look and feel, so how the pack looks in the hand and feels, looks on shelf and feels in the hand. And another big area for pharmaceutical packaging is around active and intelligent packaging. It's unique to the market challenges in terms of counterfeiting and child resistance, and active and intelligent packaging can play quite an important role in ensuring that various rules are adhered to. First thing to mention is that, so the first section, the first thing to mention is that we're not necessarily endorsing these examples as best practice. This is really reflecting what we're tracking in the market. So this is, really what is going on. There's no more to say on that. So in terms of some of the innovations that we're tracking, these are all quite new to our Innovation Zone database. So the first one is around laser marking, and this is being used as a clean and permanent way to enable product and warning labeling without the use of either paper, ink or glue. This method can reduce the risk of contamination for pharmaceutical and nutraceutical packaging, as well as have environmental benefits. So this is from N of Healthcare Packaging, and they've introduced a new line of laser marked sorbent and desiccant canisters without the need for direct printing or labeling. The laser marking process is claimed to contribute to a smaller carbon footprint with a reduced environmental impact through the elimination of transportation and associated packaging waste stream costs and complexity. The lasers have the ability to mark on both sides and without sacrificing high-speed throughput, and are capable of rendering highly detailed imagery and text. I mentioned active and intelligent packaging, and this is one of the first examples we've got for you today. So this is from CVS Pharmacy, who have nearly 10,000 outlets across the United States. The business has developed a new feature for its already established consumer app to help the visually impaired understand important information on packaging. A new RFID label will enable prescription details to be heard through the app, allowing patients with visual impairments and those who cannot read standard print labels get vital product information. Spoken RX, it's called, is the first in-app prescription reader application to be developed by a national retail pharmacy. The first stage rollout will see 1,500 CVS pharmacy outlets prepared to fix the RFID labels to prescription vials. The app can be accessed using voice-activated Siri or Google Assistant technology, because of course, if you're visually impaired, then you're going to need help to actually access the app in the first place. So that completely automates the process. Participation in the program can be done via a phone call or in-store. And actually, CVS Pharmacy worked in conjunction with the American Council of the Blind on this initiative. Next up is from Mayer Seals, their Alco Seal Pearson Peel innovation. This is a hermetically induction sealed onto the mouth of a container with tailored graphics on the top surface that can either give clear communication to the consumer of the contents or branding and promotional information to support the manufacturer. The Pearson Peel solution has a unique laser perforation that could be tailored to suit the size and shape of the container and the contents. It is possible for the consumer to pierce the foil and gain access to the products as intended, either by removing the liner completely in a single clean action or partially removed to leave a small opening to dose out the product in a controlled way for the consumer. Next up is from Ratioform, who are market-leading domestic German market for the shipping and storage of packaging. So this is, obviously a secondary packaging solution. The business has around 300 employees across 12 locations. Styrofoam-based insulation boxes are definitely on the decline. We're reporting lots of initiatives to take out styrofoam from the supply chain. And this is the Vienna-based business has announced the introduction of insulating panels made from pressed straw. The compostable insulating packaging comes via Austria's Landpack. The Landbox Bio consists of one outer box and up to 10 insulated panels made of pressed straw and an organic fleece covering. Made from 100% renewable raw materials, the box is apparently completely compostable as well as biodegradable. And they're claiming the solution is good, not just for medication, but also for food products as well, such as meat and dairy. Now, I mentioned reusable and refillable packaging at the beginning of the presentation. We don't have too many examples in pharmaceuticals for obvious reasons, but this is quite a sort of a hybrid product, which is ostensibly about drinking water, a bottle for drinking water, but also has an added functionality piece in terms of being able to administer consumers pills. So this is a water bottle brand that combines Another consumer need requirement for the safe and regular taking of medicine. The pill bottle, PB55 as it's called, combines a water carrier with a daily pill organizer. Water is often needed to take daily vitamins or pills anyway, so this is an obvious connection there. A daily organizer is also a must for many to remember to take the tablets each day. The combination of a daily pill box organizer with a water bottle is seen as a convenient solution, and also incorporates an easy slide in and out 7-day pill organizer that can hold up to 3 large pills in each compartment. My only sort of a couple of comments really about this is, I mean, on the face of it is an excellent convenient solution, but you're obviously taking away the sort of vital on-pack pharmaceutical information by decanting it into another area, and also not very safe from a child resistance point of view. Those pills could quite easily potentially get into the wrong hands. So on the face of it, an interesting and clever solution, but perhaps sort of fails in a couple of important areas. CyanX are a Leeds UK-based business, and they've introduced a counterfeit protection process for packaging. Their Secure Tag initiative allows for easy integration into the production process and can be applied to all kinds of primary and secondary packaging. Clearly, counterfeiting is a big challenge for the pharmaceutical industry, so this has particular application there. The Secure Pack enables legally binding and on-the-spot identification of secured packages as originals. It has applications, as I said, for pharmaceutical sectors, for folding boxes, tubes, tins, and blister packaging. The marking is possible at producers or during the packaging process. It is estimated that there are over 4.35 billion different encoding combinations possible here. Additionally, the particles that process the magnetic characteristics or react to ultraviolet or infrared light can also be manufactured. Secure Tag is heat resistant as well as resistant to solvents, chemicals, and most acids. A team of scientists from the University of Surrey and Sussex has developed colour-changing photonic crystals that could be used for sensors for intelligent packaging. The low-cost sensors can respond to a variety of stimuli, including light, temperature, and chemical reactions, making them useful for cost-effective visual sensors in packaging. An opal-like material has been developed that could be the foundation for next-generation smart sensors. The photonic crystals contain an extremely small amount of graphene. We are seeing graphene being used a small amount, certainly more than it used to be, but we're sort of tracking probably 1 or 2 innovations a month that incorporate graphene. The research has taken inspiration from the nature and the abilities of insects such as butterflies and beetles, as well as birds like peacocks, whose colour comes from structure rather than pigmentation. The crystals have many potential applications, including for time temperature indicators, TTIs, for intelligent packaging. So the crystals are extremely sensitive to even a small rise in temperature between 20 and 100 degrees. Next up, leading provider of thermal packaging solutions for biopharmaceutical and life sciences sector, Packaging Technology Group has launched a solution that takes the capability to another level with a dual temperature capability. The requirement of thermally protect medications and preserve the efficacy of drugs whilst in transit continues to be a priority for these producers. So they've come up with a True Temp Naturals cellulose range of recyclable and repulpable products. This solution allows medications and therapies with different temperature requirements to travel together in the same container, obviously potentially reducing supply chain logistical challenges as well as costs. The option to ship medications with 2 different temperature profiles together provides a new way to help save on shipping assembly. The dual temp shipper is especially useful for a number of different products where a frozen medication can travel alongside another that needs refrigeration, for example. Last up, before we hear from Neil, this is Apta Pharma, which is part of the Apta Group. And they estimate that almost 45% of patients don't adhere to their prescribed respiratory therapy. To help tackle this, the business has created a smart packaging solution using a reusable Bluetooth-enabled pack. The solution has been developed to enable patients using metered dose inhalers to track their daily usage and better adhere to their regimen. The smart Adhero device came about through a collaboration with Indian-based packaging business Lupin. The connected solution has been launched in India, which is a first for that country. Adhero attaches to the top of an inhaler and uses built-in sensors to track consumption patterns and daily usage. A connected app sends reminders to the patient's smartphone, as tracking data can also be sent to other interested parties, such as doctors and carers. Okay, so I'm delighted to introduce you to Neil Cashman. Neil has been with Snapsil since 2012, and we've tracked several of their innovations in our innovation zone. Snapsil is a leading innovative supplier of user-friendly medical packaging, and Neil will be showcasing some of their applications as well as fielding questions at the end. You don't want to hear about it from me, you want to hear about it from him. So Neil, let me just share the screen properly. Neil, over to you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Paul, and I appreciate the opportunity to present to you all today. I'm Neil Cashman. I am the CEO of Snapsil for the past 8 years. Prior to joining Snapsil, I had about roughly 20 years experience in various multinational marketing and innovation roles. And through those roles, I suppose I learnt about the power of packaging to transform and grow brands. Over the recent years, I think we've probably all experienced this to some extent, that much of the focus on packaging development is probably centered around supply chain optimization. And there's been, fewer examples of advancements in, centered on the user's packaging experience. It's interesting because I think if you read through the literature and do a Google search, to be quite honest, you've never seen so much sort of consumer issue and frustration with packaging and in particular hard to use packaging. A recent 2018 study found that 80% of people feel frustrated with packaging. A study prior to that said 60% of consumers prefer to buy packaging which they find easier to open. We think with the global mega trend of an aging population, it's high time that ease of use is put back onto the packaging development agenda. And today I'd like to share with you the work that Snapsil's been doing to make ease of use front and center to answer the growing market need for easier to use packaging. Paul, I think if you could hit the slide, mate. Just briefly about Snapsil. Snapsil's a packaging innovation and IP licensing company who are obsessed with actually making packaging easier to use. We've been around really since around 2012, where we filed our first patent. And since that time, we've commercialized products, or our customers have commercialized products across the food, beverage, household markets in the USA, Europe, Asia, and Australia and New Zealand. A recent technical development that we had in 2018 gave us a new capability for our technology, which enabled us to turn to pharmaceutical applications, where we see a high need for easier to use packaging. And we've really been focused on the pharmaceutical market and pharmaceutical applications for the past 2 years. And today I'm going to share where we've got to over those past years. At Snapsil, we put the patient or the user at the center of our design process to create easier to use packaging utilizing our patented technology. Now that doesn't mean it comes at the cost of the supply chain or we're going to upset any accountants on the way through. It just means that we start with the patient and user rather than what's currently in the market and adapting it. Our belief by doing that is that we can create packaging that's easier to use, which becomes preferred by users. And ultimately, which is what, in large extent it's all about, it can deliver competitive advantage in the marketplace through higher preference and loyalty. Paul? In the pharmaceutical market, the need for easier to use packaging is heightened. And that's largely to do with the users of pharmaceutical packaging, which are predominantly the elderly, or in many occasions, people who are suffering reduced capabilities due to their ailment. There's also a large need amongst clinicians who are very focused on, working in very busy environments and needing to basically not lose time through struggling through packaging. Despite this, if you think back, pharmaceutical packaging formats have changed very little over the years. Think back to a recent experience you may have had with, say, the powder or a liquid sachet. The difficulty in sort of locating the correct opening point on the sachet, hoping you've got your glasses on to see that, but sometimes not. The cautiously tearing the material without exploding the contents all over you and onto that nice white shirt you may have. Carefully evacuating the contents, trying to work out which corner of the sachet that it's going to come out, what speed it's going to come out, and making sure it goes into quite often a glass and not on the bench. And then not really being sure at the end of the process, did it all come out? Did I get the right dosage that I needed to take? Now that's a challenge for most able people, but now if you imagine yourself being years older, your hands not working like they used to, your eyes, and your mind even, not being as sharp as they used to, and having to go through that experience several times a day to access the medicines needed for your health. We believe packaging can make a real contribution to improving patient adherence in pharmaceutical. Intuitively, it makes sense, right? If a patient struggles or cannot use a packaging, they're less likely to adhere to their treatment, which means effectively, we're getting adverse health outcomes and also lost sales for the pharmaceutical industry. Now, this issue that we see in pharma is set to only get larger. If you look at the United Nations projections globally, by 2050, there's going to be 2.1 billion people, which they classify as elderly over the age of 60, making up 20% of the population. When you combine that with healthcare systems under increasing pressure, driving the need for more and more self-medication, you really do need to get on the front foot on the easier to use packaging. Otherwise, the problem's going to increase. Paul? So what is Snapsil's easier to use technology? So Snapsil has invented the ability to initiate a crack and control the path of that crack through changes in rigidity. You might see on the video that's playing on the right-hand side, which is a high-speed camera video, effectively pressure being placed on a pack, creating a crack, and then in this case, controlling that crack down a straight line. The technology is applicable for packaging utilising thermoforming production processes, which are widely used in the consumer goods and pharmaceutical industry. And I might stress here that the technology does not utilise scoring or material weakening, which can create issues in terms of maintaining a consistent barrier of the material and also quality overall, because sometimes those processes are difficult to control, especially in high volume lines. Our technology that we've invented has created a wide spectrum of new design possibilities for packaging applications that we're able to then apply to the pharmaceutical industry. Paul? When we apply Snapsil's technology to the pharmaceutical industry, we can deliver benefits of easier opening, which benefits those with low dexterity, or low strength in their hands, or busy clinicians in a high-pressured environment. We can deliver improved product evacuation, which increases the certainty that the patient is getting the right dose. We can deliver no-touch dispensing, which helps maintain sterility of medical devices or syringes in clinical environments. We can deliver quicker and easier access. You certainly don't want emergency personnel or patients, for that mind, fumbling around trying to open packaging when they're in an emergency situation and need to take a medication quickly. We can also control dispensing through control of the actual moments after a pack is opened. This enables us, for instance, to control evacuation rates from drops to free pour, or even just secure a product once it's been opened. And we can also deliver easy reclose. And I will stress here that it's a friction reclose rather than a reseal, but where a product has to be reclosed, it certainly makes it easier to be, it certainly is better to do that in an easier way rather than having to use sort of finer motor skills to basically put little caps on things. We believe these benefits can assist with better patient treatment outcomes and improved clinical efficiencies. Well, Snapsil's technology can be customised for the requirements of the product and also the patient. So at Snapsil, we can alter pack shape, pack opening size, pack opening shapes, opening force, and actually how the pack functions. Our technology is suitable for solid dose, liquids, gels, creams, syringes, device applications, and many other things the formulation scientists are dreaming up at the moment. We can also use our technology to allow for easy mixing of two separate compounds at the time of usage. Our technology can also be customised for the patient's capability levels. So we can vary the opening force and also how the pack feels and is used and accommodates different disabilities in the hand to enable patients who would be reliant on carers to have periods which are longer where they can basically self-medicate. What I'd like to do now is probably share some videos of some of the examples of how our technology can be applied to pharmaceutical applications. So the first one up here I've got is our tablet packaging solutions. So I think you'd all know the troubles with dispensing tablets. And if you Google that, you'll see a pile of stuff come up on Google very quickly about all the ways consumers or users or patients are overcoming this, even to the point of inventing machines to try to push out some of these tablets. So what Snapsil's technology enables us to do, first of all, is a really easy opening process. So because we can create leverage on the pack can simply be held in two hands and then snapped. Importantly, once the pack is actually opened, the tablets are held in place, just right there. The tablets, rather than flying out onto a bench. Now what that enables is basically the tablets to be tipped into the hand, or in the case of wanting more sterile use, to be actually lifted up to the mouth and taken directly to the mouth. The packs here is an example of a pack which has two tablets. The pack can be designed for one tablet or multi-use options. So possible to create designs of 12 packs similar to an existing blister tablet pack that you'd see on the marketplace. What we're able to do with the tablet packs is, by altering the size of the pack, adjust the amount of opening force and therefore dexterity required to actually open the pack. So these can be customised for the particular patient group that the medication is servicing. And of course it's tablets here, but it's also suitable for capsules. The next example of Snapsil being applied is in the syringe and medical device area. So here, really what we focused on was the need for easy and rapid opening, noting that clinicians in many cases will have gloves on, which makes it more difficult. We'll have only one spare hand rather than two. So what we're able to do here is basically design a pack which can be opened easily. And then the actual syringe in this case, but it could be a medical device or a piece of surgical equipment, to be dispensed straight from the pack without any contact, enabling basically a sterile object to be placed on a sterile field. What's interesting with Snapsil, I mentioned earlier on, is this click reclose. So whilst I wouldn't recommend putting a needle with a sharp back into a pack, there certainly are some areas where doctors are going to more remote parts of the world where putting it back into the pack may be the best way to dispense of it. Alternatively, other medical devices where they need to go back into the pack. And what we're able to do is basically use a very easy click reclose and incorporate into the pack to enable the pack to be closed as easily as it was opened, which you can see just there. Okay, flipping over to the next one, our powder packaging solutions. What we saw here is basically a real issue about opening sachets and a particular issue around watching consumers trying to evacuate sachets, particularly when the powder was very fine or a sticky powder. What we're able to do here with Snapsil technology is basically rethink the dispensing process, and this pack here basically creates the opening at the center of the pack. What that enables, for instance, is for more elderly hands to basically gain more leverage in opening the pack. And then with that center snap, the pack opens, but it opens in a very full way and very vertically. So a sticky powder then can flow directly out into the glass. We believe this delivers best-in-class evacuation versus sachets, which obviously has advantage to pharmaceutical companies in terms of having more confidence that the patient is retaining the exact dose. For easier dispensing powders, we have many other designs where the opening is at the top of the pack, and that enables us to control the dispensing rate, slow it down or speed it up, whichever is desired. It's basically just an easier to use experience. The other thing about the Snapsil packs here is it's very easy to check what's left. So there you can see it's being shown. The residual powder can be seen that's left, and in that case, very, very little. The next example is just Snapsil technology applied to a liquid application. And this, believe it or not, this gentleman here was somebody we just grabbed straight off the street. He was in a very elderly gentleman and struggled with sachets. And we actually have a video of him working with a sachet. Here, he could just basically pick up that pack and intuitively open it. In this case, one hand. Some customers choose to open with two. For us, it's whatever's easiest for them. Here is an example of a very free-flowing liquid that he's just basically tipped out. But as I mentioned earlier on, we can actually reduce that opening size to dispense with drops. And the one on the right-hand side of the rain shot that came up at the end of this film basically shows a little liquid dropper pack where you could dispense 1, 2, or 3 individual drops, which could make the packaging very suitable for things such as reagents. The pack shape can be customized. So here these are quite sort of standard sort of generic pack shapes. But if the customer has a particular shape that they want to use, branded shape or brand identity, we can customize the shape to that just to help with customer recognition of the medication or of the brand. And then finally, I just wanted to share an example of how we can work with customers to basically create new functionalities for them. So we had a customer approach us and said, hey, we've got a challenge whereby we've got two compounds that we want to keep separated until the actual point of use. Those compounds can't interact with each other in any way. And here, what we were able to do is basically design a pack which separates into the top part a liquid compound or product, and in the bottom part a powder product. Then by squeezing that top part or bending that top part, the liquid is released down a channel into the powder. It then mixes with the powder, it's shaken, and then you'll be able to see, so there it goes, the liquid's being released, it's then being shaken, and then the user simply snaps open the pack and tips open the product. Obviously, this has opportunities in the sense of it's easier mixing. It'd be easier mixing for a clinician, or it'd be easier mixing for somebody that's self-administering at home. It's easy open, and potentially environmentally also, a reduction in the amount of packs needed, syringes needed, for instance. It's a much more simplified process, which obviously has some environmental impacts, but also has some supply chain advantages as well. But I show this just as an example of we didn't even think of this until we started to work with our customers, understand their problem, and then come up with a solution for them. Next slide, Paul. So how we work with customers. So really, similarly to other really pack design agencies that you guys would have experience with, Snapsil custom designs and prototypes easy to use packaging solutions utilising our patented IP. So where we're a little bit different there is, we focus on our IP, which enables this easier to use. But in the way you'd interact with us, it's just classical sort of design agency and prototyping work that we would work with. But then we have the ability to sort of step beyond that, where if you were creating a bottle, you'd then take that to a blow molder or a machine company and how to produce that. We can step a little bit beyond that because we also cooperate with global leaders in production machine solutions and materials, and these companies can assist customers with commercializations where required. So we work with Multivac globally, who are the leaders in form, fill, seal production machines, and they're very aware of our technology, and we've worked with them to develop our technology. And for materials, in pharmaceuticals, we also work heavily with Amcor, who can provide material solutions according to your barrier needs, and also to answer some of the sustainability challenges that are coming towards materials. So a typical project is that, we're engaged to create a pack design, a solution, and then through the process, we bring in the machine company and the material company, and the three of us would work very closely together to come up with a best possible solution for the customer. Very similarly to how you work with many of your suppliers currently. Last slide, Paul. Just in closing, guys, thank you very much for your time today. I hope that I've been able to convey the opportunity, which I think is going to get bigger for easier to use packaging. I'd welcome the opportunity to connect with you guys after the webinar, and maybe have some further discussions and see if we can help you guys build a competitive edge for your brand through easier to use packaging. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neil, for your ease of use packaging tour de force there. It's fascinating, the types and quantity of different applications that you're working on. Obviously, make sure you stay for the last section, which will be the questions. And yeah, thank you very much again. That was extremely interesting. Okay, so a few more innovations before we take questions in about 10 minutes. This is American-based Drug Plastics, who have been designing and producing plastic medical containers and pill bottles for over half a century. The business has been on the innovation trail with the introduction of a new solution that helps pharmaceutical and nutraceutical brands differentiate through improved cap functionality. The pop and click closure has a unique design that adds a bit of a wow factor to the opening process. The easy to use closure system uses almost 65% less packaging compared to traditional 38mm push and turn child resistant system. Next up is Schreiner Medipharm, who, to be fair, have introduced quite a few innovations in our database, and this is another good example. This is their new FlexiCap Prime solution that protects medicine containers to prevent illegal reuse through the introduction of an irreversibly first opening indication. The solution is an extension of their FlexiCap range of security solutions. It has a tear strip that runs through the film cap and the label. When the tear strip is opened, it destroys the cap and label so that reuse of the container by a counterfeiter is no longer possible. August Faller is another prolific contributor to our Innovation Zone database. The German manufacturer has expanded its production capabilities with the introduction of print crypto codes for folding cartons and label applications. Suppliers of pharmaceutical products will be required by law in the Russian market to indicate specific codes to ensure improved traceability and better protect against counterfeiting. So the amount of data required is significantly higher than for other serialization requirements in other markets such as the EU and North America. So there is a requirement to print more high quality data on a small area. The new codes also include a verification requirement consisting of a crypto key to make counterfeiting even more difficult. This is Sana, and they've introduced a child-resistant container with a new opening mechanism to protect children from accidentally taking tablets. We're seeing lots of child-resistant innovations continue to come through the innovation pipeline. Access to the contents is achieved by simultaneously pressing and lifting the cap. An independent consumer research test involved 120 participants. Almost all participants confirmed that the container can be resealed easily and intuitively. The container's compact shape ensures that it is easy to handle on the go and will remain securely closed until it is needed. Molex, a company and deliverer of innovation and manufacturing solutions, Philips Medisize, has recently announced the introduction of a new mini tablet dispenser that promises useful patient functionality for oral dispensing. You can see that they've acquired the patent ownership of the dispensing system for the accurate oral dosage of various applications. The mini tablet dispenser is placed on top of a standard tablet bottle. The patient or carer is able to count and dispense mini tablets in predetermined amounts from 1 to 20 tablets. The system also allows the user to visually confirm the measured tablet count number before dispensing and helps to minimize damage of the mini tablets during dispensing. Now, you may have seen Huhtamaki have been doing quite a lot of work on their Blue Loop recyclable range, and they've announced in the last few months the introduction of a recyclable strip pack for pharmaceutical solids. The new addition to their push tab loop range has been designed to be a cost-effective alternative to blister and cold form packaging. It's been developed in collaboration with Remarco Siebler. The push tab loop range is, as I said, part of their Blue Loop product portfolio. And additional variants of the blister range include a version that uses less aluminium, and the surface of the film can be printed on both sides. August Faller again, they've announced the introduction of the dry peel flag label that has been designed to be removed easily in layers. No residue or adhesive is left behind. The labels have been designed so that they adhere to the container and stand out like a flag. It is suitable for documentation and product marking for medical practitioners to record product usage. Just conscious of timing, so just whizzing through these really. So Shriner Medipharm, again, the business is really at the forefront of a lot of the smart and intelligent packaging that we're tracking on the innovation zone. And again, pushing boundaries with the development of a new blister pack with smart packaging capability. The smart packaging technology generates data in real time. When a patient pushes a tablet from the blister pack, a lot of information can be gathered. This includes the medication type, when the tablet was taken from the pack, and even the specific cavity in the blister pack that has been pushed. The information is transmitted via a smartphone app to a central database. The solution has been designed to reduce the need, for manual documentation, as well as improve overall patient compliance. Last up, this is toothpaste tubes. Okay, not technically pharmaceutical, but the idea of a tube is obviously used in the pharmaceutical industry. Lots of multi-layer construction makes them impossible to recycle. A lot of work's gone on in this area. Henkel have been working tirelessly on a new solution for their oral care tube portfolio that will see that it'll be fully recyclable by next year. The transition for the Spanish toothpaste brand Licor del Polo will incorporate proprietary green leaf tube technology. The solution enables the packaging to be fully recyclable wherever collection schemes are active, and that's for HDPE, basically where HDPE bottled recycling streams are. The unique tube making technology uses a single blown film to reduce the product's CO2 footprint, and the green leaf technology will convert more than 700 tons of packaging material per year into the category. So in summary, sustainability will continue to drive pharma packaging change. Managed to do a presentation without mentioning COVID-19, which is the first time in about 6 months. We believe the innovation funnel is back to normal. Clearly, there is still some disruption in innovation departments and in production, but we're certainly seeing as many new innovations coming to market that we saw pre-February. Recycling is one of the biggest areas of challenge, and that still requires it's a significant ongoing issue for pharma brands. I just put a question out there, really a rhetorical question. How might the growing refillable and reusable packaging market, which is growing across all categories, sort of come to life in the pharmaceutical world? Because for obvious practical and legal reasons, maybe it isn't growing as fast as in other categories, but just wonder if that might be a thing that we might see in the next sort of 12 to 24 months. So Barry, have we got any questions, please?
Hi, can you hear me?
I'm loud and clear.
Yeah, we just have one question for Snapsil, which is, does it pass the child resistant and senior friendly testing?
Yeah, we actually have a development in train at the moment, which is very close to going into testing for tablets. So certainly that's on its way. Obviously, that's the sort of opposite ends for us, in terms of we were about easy to use, and then kids are bloody smart these days, we've found out. So we've been working at both ends. We're getting some really encouraging results at the moment. So in terms of tablets, watch this space, it's coming.
Another one for you is, are there any in-market examples for Snapsil?
Not in the pharmaceutical space at the moment. As I said, we moved into that quite recently, and certainly the wheels of pharma in terms of the movement from idea into market take a little bit of time. We certainly have some projects moving nicely along the innovation funnel. If we shift to food and beverage and household areas, in the States, you'll find examples from products launched from, say, the Clorox company, salad dressings, Scott's Miracle Grow fertilizers, ant baits, In Europe, you'll find condiments packs, Australia condiments packs, also in Indonesia. So predominantly in the food, beverage and household areas, there's examples.
I think more one for in your area. I'm not sure if it's really a question or a statement, but someone's put they're curious about the growing use of reused and sterilised devices and the idea of the place back in packaging to transport the device back for re-sterilisation. So that seems to be an area where there's potential for reuse of packaging and reuse.
I have a question for you, Neil, if I may.
Yep.
Could you just talk us through the recyclability of Snapsil products?
Yeah, so certainly Snapsil's technology is basically incorporated into the formed shell, so what we call the base shell. We work with the material companies basically to develop a solution, a material that sort of helps promote that. Certainly, so ultimately, similarly to what's happening at the moment, where pharmaceutical companies are talking to material companies and developing solutions, sustainable solutions, we're part of that discussion. I might add at the moment that we're certainly functional with a relatively new material, COC material, cyclic olefin copolymer, which we believe has the same barrier properties similar to PVDC, which is being obviously one of the materials that is regarded as, where improvement to sustainability is needed. So certainly we've established that we have capability in that area, and I'm told from the manufacturer of COC that they've just completed some quite rigorous testing on recycling with EU laws, which will be released over the next month or two. We're also working on a modified PET structure as well. So certainly, and there'll be other options. So typically when we're brought into a project, a material company comes along and we'll work to develop a solution that's not only easy to use, but works with a sustainable material.
Whoops, sorry, I was struggling to unmute myself there. Thank you very much, Neil, for your comprehensive replies to those questions.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for attending today's webinar, and we hope you found it of value and interest. As I said at the beginning, we will be sharing the recording of this webinar by the beginning of next week, as well as Neil's contact details. We'll be back again next week. So that's Thursday, the 24th of September, not the 25th. Apologies for the typo there. So we hope you can join us for our sustainable packaging review. Thank you all very much for your time, and we look forward to engaging with you again soon.